Today on Moonstar, a Sailor Moon podcast. So we're going to do this right now. You get to hear my keyboard. We are getting into a new tape finally. So shout out to Queen's College. Also, Canada has lemon ice cream, and if you have never had lemon ice cream, you don't know what you're missing. Welcome back to another episode of Moonstar, a Sailor Moon podcast. This week, we are getting into a new tape finally, and it is called The Power of Friendship. So let's talk about the box art a little bit before we get into anything else. And you might hear me trying to be a little quiet. People are sleeping upstairs while I'm recording right now. But, you know, when you have people in town, that's what you gotta do, right? So bear with. Anyway, The Power of Friendship box set is yellow and white faded, and it features Sailor Mercury and Sailor Mars back to back on the cover. Sailor Mercury is facing away doing an interesting pose, although her hand looks a little bit funny, and Sailor Mars is facing forward doing a pose with her hand going behind her back. It's okay, this box art. It's not the best, but, you know, it's decent. I like both Sailor Mercury and Sailor Mars. You know, there's some little flower accents that are cute. I especially like the faded pastel version in the background. Those are nice. But onto the back. So it says, Enter Sailor Mercury. Fighting evil is a tough job, and even a superhero like Sailor Moon can use a little help from her friends. So when Serena's friend Amy decides to join the fight against evil, she becomes the mighty Sailor Mercury. And if two magical Sailor Scouts aren't enough to defeat Queen Beryl's evil henchman, Jadeite, get ready for the surprise appearance of the third Sailor Scout, the amazing Sailor Mars. I'm excited for both of them. And Mars specifically because as an adult, I find I enjoy her much more than I did as a kid. Something about red used to bother me for I don't know what, but recently I've really been a lot more into it. So loving that. And I know that sounds weird. It makes sense in my head. Leave me alone. But anyway, on the back, we've got 4 bubbles for the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 episodes. Sorry, 4 bubbles for the 4 episodes. I don't know why I thought it had 5. That's weird. Anyway, the first one is the Yoma being not frozen, but cold in Mercury's bubbles. The second one is Amy and Serena. I believe this is the time one. Yeah, Time Bomb. So they're in the watch shop. The next one is Serena in her flight attendant outfit, which is really cute. And that's from An Uncharmed Life. Oh, wait, I think that might be from Nightmare in Dreamland. Whereas I think the final bubble is from An Uncharmed Life, which is Sailor Mars. Interesting. I'm excited. Nightmare in Dreamland is one of my favorite episodes in the first season. It's so creepy. I love the trio of Sailor Mars, Sailor Mercury, and Sailor Moon. And you get to see them do a combination attack in that episode, which I don't want to spoil, but it's also a combination attack with the 3 of them in Sailor Moon Another Story. And it has the name Stardust Stream Hit in that game. It doesn't have a name in the show. But I really love that when they do that. I don't know. I love when they combine attacks. But anyway, so the color scheme for this tape is just yellow overall. I like yellow, but I think for whatever reason, the images of Mercury and Mars they chose and the positions and everything, it's just doesn't do it for me so much. Anyway, that's it for the box art. What's next today? Some water first. Oh, okay. The announcements. So the Sailor Says for the Power of Friendships episodes will become available on our YouTube over the next couple of weeks. And other new YouTube content, we recently were finally able to find the game Super Moon Fighter DX, which is an old Sailor Moon fighting game that was created for the PC. I think we talked about it last time a little, I'm not sure. But we've really been having a good time playing it. In our opinion, it is so much more fun than the more popular version, where, if you don't know, there is like this whole esports Sailor Moon Super S hack fighting thing going on, and people have added characters to it and all that stuff, and it's really cool. And I absolutely agree. I love those games. I grew up playing them, but this one, how do I say this the right way? They did a better job of making each character feel unique in how they play. Each character sort of has their own strategy. It's not kind of as copy paste as the characters feel to me in the other version of the game. For example, Mars Flame Sniper is one of my favorite abilities in that game, and it's just a regular old straight line projectile in Sailor Moon Super S, the fighting game. But in Super Moon Fighter DX and the other variations of the game, you can hold down the keys that you use to do the combo, and she will hold the arrow until you're ready to release it. So it's a timed projectile, and it also passes through other projectiles, whereas typically they would meet in the middle and cancel each other out. So that's one thing. And then you have Sailor Venus, Love and Beauty Shock, where during the animation for it, like, if you get past the first second of the animation, it has a longer animation, but a projectile will just pass through her while she's casting. And then the heart itself staggers your opponent, so they like drop down and they're kind of like stuck on the floor, and they can tap keys to recover. And so that's the special effect for Love and Beauty Shock. It's not just like, oh, here's my projectile that looks like that. You know, there's so much more to it. And each character has several abilities too. It's not just one or two. And the reason that's going to go on our YouTube is we are going to put some Let's Plays, some long plays, but also we're going to be making, we've already started actually, but we're going to be making guides for it in various forms. Simple ones that just tell you the basics for each character, and then in-depth guides that will give you everything you need to know. And I'm hoping other people will start playing it and see how fun it is. And then maybe some people who have skills that I don't can either go in and add characters themselves or teach me how to do it, because I would love to see this engine get some love today and have more added to it, because it's so much fun, and there's so many things that we could all do with it, like the community in general, Sailor Moon community. So Super Moon Fighter DX, it is available to purchase on a Japanese DL site. I will put a tiny URL link to that in the podcast description today, in case anyone is interested in looking at that. And it's really cheap. It's like $3. It's very, very cheap. And I highly recommend it, because you get 3 games with the one purchase. You get the Super Moon Fighter, the regular version, which just has, it's the older version of it, which in my opinion has the best mechanics to it and has the most fun value once you figure out how to do everyone's abilities. Then you get Sailor Moon DX, which is the most balanced version of the game, and the one I'm currently working through putting the guides up for. It's just the one I happen to start with, and also the balance does help a little bit. And then it's also the smoothest running, by the way, so it's because it's the most recently updated. And then the other one you get is, I believe, called FX, and that one is sort of like a goofy twist where it also includes all of the Sailor Moon R villains, which is sort of unique for Sailor Moon fighters. Well, not all of the villains, but it includes the 4 sisters, Emerald, then you get Black Lady, you get Arini, like Chibiusa, out of Scout form as well as in Scout form in that game, and some other really cool... Oh, and you get Anne from Alan and Anne in Sailor Moon R, so all the girls. There's also a very odd option in that version of the game where you can do something called turning off Scout mode, and everyone's face turns very round. They stop saying their ability names, and like, I think what it is the creators put in kind of like inside jokes for themselves, and it's cute to see, really. So go ahead and get those games if you're interested, or maybe check out the videos first to see how they play, see what I'm talking about. The animations, honestly, I love in all 3 of them. I think if you like sprite animations, I don't know. I'm going to stop going on about it because I'm going to take up our whole time if I don't. So anyway, Super Moon Fighter DX, Super Moon Fighter FX. We'll put a link to purchase in the description. All right, just another reminder about Sailor Moon: Another Story dubbed. The series we started, it is obviously available on YouTube, and episode 5, the most recent one, will play today in audio form at the end of the podcast, just so you guys have a little reminder about what that's like, see where it's at. We're trying to improve each episode as we go, so don't just watch the first one and think, oh, this is it. No, we're trying to make it keep getting better and better, so stay with us there. And we've got 2 more announcements. Negavision update. We have officially obtained the DVDs, and the quality is great. The video looks great. Taking it from VHS. I played it on a widescreen HD TV today, and I couldn't be happier with it. So what's going to happen is we're going to put these up on the website very soon in 2 different formats. We're going to put the VOB files, which is what you get when you rip a DVD directly to a computer. For whoever might want to just pop them onto a DVD themselves, that's probably the easiest way to do it. And then we'll also convert them into MP4s. So that's the most universal, I think, format. And finally, they'll also be available to stream on our website, sunshinefarmcollectibles.com. Last thing, I will not say the day, but I do share a birthday month with Usagi. And for me, the very best gift you guys have already given me is listening, first of all. You know what? I wanted to do this the other day and I forgot. So we're going to do this right now. You get to hear my keyboard a little bit. We have listeners all over the world, which I find so interesting. So I just want to do some shout outs here because I appreciate our listeners everywhere. And I'm shocked with how many countries we've reached. So let me just pull this back up so I can tell you all about it. All right. So, and we're going to, there's nothing wrong with a little healthy competition, right? So we're going to do that here. First of all, obviously, the United States is going to be in first place, I think, because this is just where I live. And this is a podcast in English, I guess. So they are winning at 70% of the listens. But after that, we're going to start the rankings. So the United States doesn't get a ranking because, sorry, y'all, we decided we were number 1 in the world and we were kind of a big butthole sometimes. We don't need to be number 1 in anything else. Go away. Don't go away. Stay here. I love you. But you know what I mean. Calm down. You already know you're number 1. Anyway, so number 1 after would be, we have a 3-way tie at 4.17% for France, India, and Mexico. So I just want to say hello to France, India, and Mexico. I took Spanish in high school. I remember very little. I will not attempt now. And I took French in elementary school. I remember some of that. I watched Muzzy, which you're supposed to say Musée in France, is what my French teacher said, among some other interesting things. And of the 2, studying them both, the experiences were so vastly different and at such different ages, I couldn't even begin to compare. But I did have a good time with both, so there's that. Shout out to all 3 of those countries. Coming in next at 3.33% is Germany. I wish I knew some German, but I don't, other than Häagen-Dazs, which is showing my ignorance, but we all got to start somewhere. By the way, Häagen-Dazs, if you read the ingredients, has some of the simplest ingredients out there for like standard grocery store ice cream. I'm just saying, if you're looking for stuff with like, fewer things in it, check them out. So shout out to Germany. I like your ice cream. Canada and Italy come in next at 2.5%. I've been to Canada a couple times, actually. I went to a camp there when I was a child for music, and I had such a blast. The people there were so kind to me. The teachers, I learned so much from them. It was a very old campus. It was Queens College. And I got to stay in the dorms at one point, which was really cool. At a younger age, that was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this kind of thing. I got to see all this really amazing architecture. The cafeteria was amazing to me at that age because they had chocolate milk just like coming out of the wall. Do you guys understand? For like a 10-year-old? Anyway, so shout out to Queens College. Also, Canada has lemon ice cream, and if you have never had lemon ice cream, you don't know what you're missing. Italy, I don't have much. I mean, I wish I did. I know Lady Gaga's Italian, so if there's, 100 people in whatever her speech was. Anyway, next we have Australia, Spain, and the Philippines. So hello, Australia, Spain, and the Philippines. I've never been anywhere close to any of you, but I like to imagine that even living in such different worlds, we all still somehow love Sailor Moon together, and that's amazing to me. And then the next ones, some of these really blew my mind. We have tied at the end here, which I'm not even going to say the percentage because it's mean, but still, I don't care. Austria, Brazil, Chile, the United Kingdom, and Ukraine. I'm not shocked that some people from the United Kingdom are listening. Hello over there. Lovely. How are you? But Brazil, Chile, and Ukraine, I mean, really, I'm so happy to have you guys, and Austria, that, like, I don't know, it's so cool to me that this many countries are checking out this podcast. So hello to the world, and I hope you guys are having fun listening to me be a goofy kid every week, and I hope you guys get to be a kid with me, because that's what this is for. So all right. Oh, the whole reason I said birthday month, I share a birthday month with Usagi. So to all of you out there, and the friendly competition aspect of it, the best birthday gift you could give me, besides listening yourself, is sharing this podcast with at least one other friend that you know either likes Sailor Moon or likes anime. And trust me, I know the first handful are kind of a little bit crunchy. We didn't get the new mic until recently. I'm still getting used to how to structure the podcast properly so it flows well and all of that. Don't worry, I'm aware that it's not perfect yet. But the more people that listen, the better it's going to be for me trying to get guests, trying to book voice actors to come on, stuff like that. So definitely make sure if you want to give me a gift this June, that's the best thing you can do, is share it with one person. And it could be a friend online. It doesn't have to be someone face-to-face, whoever. And I don't know, that would be amazing. So yeah, that would be the best birthday for me. And we're going to get started with the watch through. All right, I'll see you guys on the other side. Peace. I left it in on purpose. I love the little Deke intro.
Today on Sailor Moon, there's a new danger. Could the smartest girl in school actually be an alien of the Negaverse? Well, okay. This is not one of my golden moments. What's a girl to do when faced with a Scythe-handed monster? When Sailor Moon comes back, I'll show you.
I love this episode so much. I'm so excited. Sailor Mercury has always been one of my favorites. She's a huge favorite in the fandom, I know, because who doesn't love someone that is intelligent, kind, sweet, determined? Like, she's just one of those characters, you know? And then her abilities are so typically pretty. Well, all of them are, actually. I don't know why I said typically. They're all pretty. I don't know. She's such a great character, and it's funny because in my world, when I was younger, she was very underestimated, to the point where I remember I found an anti-Sailor Mercury website, and I was like, who is this mad at Sailor Mercury that they made a whole website just hating her? And I was like, what a weird thing to do. But So I kind of thought people didn't like her that much because they thought her Shabon spray or Mercury Bubbles Blast was, I guess, not that useful. But much like in Sailor Moon Another Story, it's one of the few abilities that sees very good strategic use almost all the way throughout the series, whereas a lot of the other abilities, like the first season abilities, they do get used and stuff sometimes, but I would say with the exception of maybe Venus, most of the time it's not so much strategy and it's more to change things up. But anyway, we're about to start. Computer School Blues. Such a great, iconic title. I should probably turn it down so we don't get sued. I have to admit, I know this episode so well, unlike some of the other ones, because this is a tape I had as a kid. I remember one time on vacation, the first time I got this tape, I was out of state. It was summer. And my family was busy, you know, doing adult stuff. So I was up in the attic where we were staying, where my room was. And I put this tape on and I was just like, I think it was probably my first of the VHS tapes that I ever purchased too. And just Sailor Mercury, I was so dazzled by her. I stayed up all night drawing terrible pictures of her. Like, terrible, like, poor quality. Get your mind out of the gutter. But I just remember, like, she had no neck, but I don't even care. I was so into it. And, yeah, so this episode holds a really special place in my heart. I've watched it so many times. Sailor Moon and her mom fighting about stuff to start out, of course. She needs to study harder. She's not applying herself. She keeps getting, like, 30s on tests, which... I don't know. I was, like, scared into paying attention by people around me, so I never scored that low typically until I got to college, and, like, it was a lot harder. But that only happened a handful of times. I can't imagine being... Well, I guess she doesn't pay attention, so I don't know. I'm gonna stop musing about why she gets 30s. It's a show where it's an intentional narrative created by another person. She's not real self. Or is she? Just kidding. The hard part makes you strong. It's so true, Luna. I feel like she said that in another episode. I love when she would sneak off to the arcade to talk to this guide. Give me your password. Tuna fish and field mouse pudding. I'll never do that again. I'm so sorry. But that is what Luna said. If you don't... I'm not going to spoil it if you don't know who is actually the voice of the computer. You find out later. It's so cute. She's like pawing at the screen. Amy's face comes up. They think she's from the Negaverse, which is so funny to me because knowing who the two of them are, I'm like, how the fuck did you not? But it's a show, I get it. They call the cram school. Amy goes to the brain farm. That's so rude. Melvin and Serena and all them, and Molly, they're watching her from across the room, like across the hallway, gossiping as children do, as adults do, as we all do. I love Melvin, like, so excited that someone can finally challenge him when it comes to grades. I think that's a great attitude, really. Everyone else is all weirded out by her. Oh, Amy heard them. She looks so angry, of course. Well, more hurt. I love when Luna attacks her. And then gets all close and is like, what's going on? She's all nice. What's happening? I don't understand. I like her. She blushes. It's so cute. Luna and Amy have a sweet relationship, I feel like. I wish I could have a nice kitty just like you. Yeah. What a great way for them to meet, though. Serena comes up to get Luna, and now they're all like, hey, I'm sorry I was a big old wee before, but my cat likes you. Amy calls her out straight to her face. Very... I mean, we all know now Amy's clearly autistic, right? Like, we can just... Okay. Are you from outer space or what? Because she likes to read. I mean, I guess to some people it reads like that. Get it? Uh-huh. I didn't even mean it that way. Serena's talking to Luna while she's like right next to Amy, and then Amy's like, why do you think I'm silly? It's so goofy. I love it. Luna's so mad because Serena was grabbing her face to make her stop talking. Serena takes Amy to the arcade to show her the Sailor V game, which was such a big deal to her at this time. Which is so funny to me because I'm like, you didn't connect the dots like Sailor V, Sailor Moon, like... I guess not, 'cause she's like a, what, junior high girl. Then Amy does the game for the very first time, and she's like perfect and amazing at it. I love the background music they play here for it.
Alright, you're doing good! Sure you haven't played this before? No!
Her score is at 20,000. 25,000. 30,000. All the guys are gathered around watching. She's at 100K. She gets up to leave. It's so funny because her score was so high, and then when it shows the game over screen, you can tell they didn't want to animate it for her game over because it had an old score. It was like 6,000. Probably the time Serena died. Details. See? This is what investigative journalism. Inconsistencies. Breaking the fourth wall. Amy's score did not match when she... Okay, I'm going to stop. Andrew brings out the floppy disk that Amy left behind. Floppy disks. I remember. My favorite floppy disk game is hard to choose. I had a bunch. I liked one game called Lenny's Music Tunes was really fun. And there was, like when I was really little, they had these old computer games called Color Me. And there was a Rainbow Bright Color Me where you could like color in Rainbow Bright pictures. I loved that as a kid. That was fun. The Negaverse has all these kids at their cubicles with their brainwashing software. This one too is, I feel like they were just reading what was going on at the time and it's still going on, where it's sometimes people just get stuck in the internet or they lose their energy by spending all day with their face in a screen. I feel like it's happening more now than ever before. Duh, self, of course it is. But I don't know, this is another one, like last week's episode sort of read today's culture pretty fiercely, where the Negaverse, like their mission is, if it succeeded, is essentially what is today. And this is another one too, where it's like there are some people out there who are completely just hypnotized by what they read online. They think everything is fact. I don't know. It's weird. We don't need to go into it, but y'all know what I mean. You've seen it. This is one of my favorite awkward interactions between her and Darian. When they bump into each other, she sort of runs away a little bit, pauses for a second, and then Explode runs further because she's like, I need to figure out this disc. Oh, it's the meme of her with the floppy disk. Yay, memes. Serena making fun of Luna for being suspicious. I mean, to be fair, Serena's right, but a little healthy suspicion of her, it can be a good thing. This, in defense of Amy, this does make her look terrible. It's a brainwashing program. Yes, the Luna pen. I wish this persisted. The school superintendent. Come on, I want to see. Let me see. Okay, outfit time. White pumps with a yellow accent. Then she's got a white dress that comes down to about Oh, it looks like a white blazer overcoat with the little dress underneath, a beige dress. It's kind of a dowdy look for her disguise pen looks, to be honest. She does have a bob again, which she looks okay with a bob. Some pink lipstick, that's nice. And she's transforming. She just like bursts into the classroom. Amy's like, what are you doing here? Also, I just noticed, but I think this is the first time I've seen the standard like hand that we're all used to where she gets the nail polish sparkle on it. I'll have to double check that later. Man, this VHS is in better condition than the last one I watched on, and the transformation looks even better on this one. The last one, I think, had some magnetism issues on it. Amy somehow knew who Sailor Moon was already. If this monster appeared while it was holding me, I would be so sad. And probably bite its hand. And then run away. Also, knowing that its hand turns into a giant axe, I'm like so much more scared for Amy. Because like, what if it just accidentally axed her? Or on purpose, I guess. I love the way Terry Hawks delivered that line. Because it was like forced awkward in such a great way. Because it was meant to sound like Serena had false confidence. And I think she delivered it perfectly. The monster's trying to quiz her. You got it wrong. I'm going to attack you with these angry papers that are tests. And very sharp and trying to cut you. Her zombies are after her. The whole school is coming after her. She's got all of these paper things. She's trying to hold Amy's face into the computer. This scene is like burned into my brain for life. With the little energy thing trying to grasp a hold of her and she fully resists it. Then the Mercury symbol starts glowing on her forehead. It's so epic. We get to see Luna create her pen this time. We don't always get to see them. I think this is the only one we see her make, actually, besides Usagi's stuff. Ugh, there's the axe. It's so gross. It, like, breaks out of her flesh, and then her arm extends really far. I don't know why it always freaked me out so much. Yay, we get to see her transformation, even though they chop out a whole ton of it for protection from boobs, I guess. Ugh, her determined face. I love it. It looks so good, even chopped up. I don't care. They also added a little shine that goes across behind her that is not in the original Japanese version. And each of the 4 inner scouts have a little additional effect that Deke added in, which I personally really enjoy. I actually think I need to stop saying actually, but I think it added quite a lot. A nice little touch. The first time we see her bubbles blast. Never underestimate the power of confusion, distraction, and being in the right place at the right time. Timing is everything, actually. There, I did it again. Ugh. Are you alright? Yeah, but the big ugly thing isn't. Definitely not in 1 second. Moon dusted. I wonder if, like, once they're awakened, they recover a bunch of memories or something. I would imagine they do. Like, not all of them, but enough where they're not like, what the fuck? She's like, obviously you suspected me. I had this disc that was like an evil brainwashing machine. Of course you thought I was evil. Fair. Now that we're friends, will you help me do my homework? Serena. She's so cute. Oh, Amy chimes in on this. Sailor says, give school a chance. Give your future a chance. It's so square, but so true. And I'm sorry to anyone who is like Gen Z out there and listening and is like, oh my god, I'm trash. Whatever the like cool thing is. But like, you're gonna wish that you invested in yourself more when you were younger, rather than investing in trying to impress whoever by whatevering your life away. And I'm sorry, the teacher in me comes out. I can't help it. But that's just the teacher in me coming out. So, all right, let's do a wrap up on this episode. This is one of my favorites, like I've said already. Sailor Mercury is one of my favorite scouts. I love her character in general. I think she is so... there are just so many things about her that resonate with me and a lot of people in the world. So getting to watch her awakening with all of you is very special to me. I want to hear from you guys. Who else loves Sailor Mercury? Who else finds this episode to be particularly exciting? I don't know, touching. It's not so much touching as just... It's just such an iconic moment in Sailor Moon history, where it's the first time Serena is getting an ally besides Luna. The ally was suspected to be an enemy, turns out to be a friend. Sailor Mercury just happens to be one of my favorites, so her being the first ally is great. Plus, Mercury just has cool little things, like her computer and her visor and all of that stuff. So, yeah, I can't help it. I just really adore Sailor Mercury, and I always will. And other things from this episode I think we could learn today, if you want to take it there. We all spend way too much time on screens now, but that's kind of just what culture has become. And unless you intentionally make time for yourself not to be on a screen so much, it's very difficult not to get caught in that world. But it is important for all of us to take time and remember that we are human beings who live on a planet that is an interactive adventure. It's not a, like... Do you know what I'm saying? It's like we have to still interact with our surroundings, interact with the people around us, foster relationships in person, not only online, all of that kind of thing. Because I will say one thing. My dad has worked on the internet since it was started. He was one of the first people on the internet, and I asked him what it was one time, like, what is the internet? And he basically said that it's like a bunch of servers, quote, taped together. You know, he's being facetious. And him and his colleagues often say that it's a miracle that it works at all. And he said the internet is going to fail several times in our lifetime, possibly. Probably, I don't know. That's his estimate, and I can see that, happening for sure. We don't know what's going to happen. So I think those of us who lived before without the internet, yeah, it would be a hard thing. It would suck in so many ways, the times when the internet's not working for the world. But practice being without it now, so if that ever happens, it's not like your whole world just is destroyed. You have, okay, well, when I schedule time for myself when I'm not on the internet, these are the things I'll do. We're going to lean into that for now. You at least have some idea of what you can do, and then you can build from there. Which, that's very a dystopian future moment. I don't know why that just came to my mind, but apparently I needed to share that thought with all of you, so you're welcome. All right, let's get into the closing for today. Our final segment is very appropriate considering today's episode, and it is the slew of Sailor Moon or Sailor Mercury anime music videos to the song I'm Blue. Now, everyone knows this song by now, I'm Blue, Dabba Dee Dabba Die. I personally love that song. It's a fun bop by Eiffel 65, came out in the year 2000, I believe, or 1999, one of those, maybe 2000. Yeah, 1999 or 2000. And tons of people made terrible, like, Mercury I'm Blue videos of just, like, random things. I was one of the people who made a terrible one. But there are two that definitely are at the top of the pack, in my opinion. These are the two I'm aware of that are great, and I would love to share them with you. So, the first one is by Aluminum Studios, which, for me, Aluminum Studios is one of the things I think of whenever I reminisce about anime music videos. And something I love about theirs specifically is that, first of all, the timing is great, the effects flow nicely, and obviously the theme is perfect, right? But they do this really cool thing with... They take, like, some background effect or something from one of her attacks, and they do this strobe animation overlaid with the rest of what's going on in that scene to emphasize the beat. And it's just really cool. So check that one out. Aluminum Studios, I'm Blue, Sailor Mercury. And then the other one is Kirk Rende, Rende. This guy is great. He was making some really cool Sailor Moon anime music videos back in the day, in the early 2000s. And I even wrote to him one time asking him, how are you making them? What programs do you use? I was doing some of my own. I just wanted advice from someone who I looked up to. And he was so kind. He responded to me, said some really nice stuff, gave me some advice. And with my parents' permission, he sent me a DVD in the mail that had some high quality versions of the videos he'd already made, but also some stuff that hadn't come out yet or wasn't finished or wasn't going to be finished. So I got some behind the scenes look there. And I still remember that made me feel so special in that moment, like seen by someone I looked up to, even though it is this niche world. So I definitely want to shout him out for his rendition of Blue. And something he did that is very unique, he made his very own cover of the song. So because of that, you guys get to hear the entire thing. We should not get slammed for copyright for this. And I will also be sure to post some type of a link to something for him, but the name Kirk Rende, KIRKRENDE. This is Blue Mercury. And I will see you guys next week. Peace.